Lessons of the Past by Judith Ortiz Cofer. I was born the year my father learned to march in step with other men, to hit bullseyes, to pose for sepia photos, in dress uniform outside Panamanian night spots, pictures he would send home to his pregnant teenage bride inscribed, "To my best girl." My birth made her a Madonna, a husbandless young woman with a legitimate child, envied by all the tired women of the Pueblo, as she strolled my carriage down dirt roads, both of us dressed in fine clothes bought with army checks. When he came home, he bore gifts, silk pajamas from the Orient for her, a pink iron crib for me. People filled our house to welcome him. He played Elvis loud and sang along in his new English. She sat on his lap and laughed at everything. They roasted a suckling pig out on the patio. Later, no one could explain how I had climbed over the iron bars and into the fire. Hands lifted me up quickly, but not before the tongues had licked my curls. There was a picture of me, taken soon after, my hair clipped close to my head, my eyes enormous, about to overflow with fear. I looked like a miniature of one of those women in Paris, after World War II, hair shorn, being paraded down the streets in shame for having loved the enemy. But then things changed, and some nights he didn't come home. I remember hearing her cry in the kitchen. I sat on the rocking chair waiting for my cocoa, learning how to count uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco on my toes, so that when he came in, smelling strong and sweet as sugarcane syrup, I could surprise my papsito, who looked like his girl's smart, who didn't like crybabies, with a new lesson learned well. In this poem, Cofer uses an abundance of imagery to help navigate the poem. For example, on line 2 she states, "To pose for sepia photos in dress," and this is exactly what she conveyed as well as what I thought of when reading the story. It's crazy how everyone puts their own little twist on what image the author is trying to describe. For the next use of imagery in the poem, we have a picture I took of what reminds me of fine clothes and what I thought of when Cofer stated, "Both of us dressed in fine clothes." It's a picture of a shirt that hangs in my closet that I wear many times on special occasions. Next, we have her use of imagery in the sense of pajamas. Immediately when Cofer said silk pajamas, I thought of an old robe of mine that hangs in the closet. Moving along, the next use of imagery is Cofer's description of roasting a suckling pig out on the patio. Now, not that I could roast a pig in my green egg, but that's what it reminded me of. The immediate thought that went through my mind when she described it as roasting out on the patio was that my green egg is out on the patio. We often smoke meat on the patio when we have people over. The final use of imagery in Cofer's Lessons of the Past is when she says, learning how to count uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco on my toes. This gave me the idea to take a picture of my toes as I'm trying to count on them. I know it's a little childish, but that's what I thought of because, like this author, I used to do that with my toes all the time, except I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instead of uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. The detailed use of imagery in this poem is what makes the poem so special. She describes times of her childhood, but it's the description of the times that makes us think. She's telling us a story in the form of a poem. We can't, and she can't, ever live through those memories again. They will never be able to be relived or re-experienced, but she can recall of those times and is imagery that is the lead focus behind recalling these times of her childhood. Without the description of the times, the poem would be boring and have no meaning. Therefore, I believe imagery is what makes this poem so special and is the lead focus.